Jeremiah Oliver has joined forces with the Gate Center in season 1. Jeremiah Oliver is the CEO of Atlas Corp, the biggest and most powerful corporation in all of Haven. He is a big reason why the Gate Center is as powerful as it is and are able to provide such support for gamma types. He's out there on the battlefield because he created, a battle suit using said resources that allows him to be out there and make his presence known because he's a powerful leader. So we see Jeremiah Oliver out there giving orders and trying to support Tempest and following Tempest's lead. One of Jeremiah Oliver's abilities is, let's go. His 3 abilities are his handshake, his bodyguards, and his Atlas CEO, which is where all his power comes from. But he is not mutated. Well, he has mutated, but he just mutated recently as he joined Gate, and he's still trying to get the hang of his abilities, which is his hand. And there's even a part where Tempest was like, be careful out there. You should be safe, because having being able to manipulate people with your hand by way of a handshake is not going to stop you from taking a bullet to the head. And Jeremiah is like, I'm good out here. I'm going to make it a safe place. He's out there with, his privatized army, Gate agents and his bodyguards. So he's pretty confident that he can kind of hold his own out there. And so he's out there calling shots and making sure everything is going as planned. Jeremiah's main objective was, he said, Jeremiah is CEO of Atlas, who is a large supporter / investor in Gate, and as such is supporting his investment by helping Gate employees. So he went out there to show his support, to show the people that Atlas Corp is here for you. Atlas Gate is here to see you through this time. Also, while staying safe with his bodyguards. We get a really cool scene of him saving civilians that needed help. And he's asked to escort a group of civilians, which we've come to learn is Jacob Bastion and his civilians that he had taken from Mesa Mart. And they pull up and meet with Jeremiah Oliver, who is the Gate Center's contact, to come and bring him back to the outpost. Jeremiah meets him. Jacob Bastion looks like a normal person as well. We don't know too much about his G-type ability yet because he didn't have time to explain it when Marshall asked him how he was able to heal like that. Jacob Bastion has a lodestone. It's a stone with some special properties to it, and we'll learn more about that. You can go to his character page and look at what it does, but I don't really want to dive into it until I can present it. But feel free to go to his character page and check out his abilities. It's a really, really fucking cool idea. It's really, really interesting. It's really, really unique. Probably one of my favorite abilities that I've seen because it's so unique and niche. He immediately has his own, he found his spot in Haven. He knows where his lane is and where he belongs. And with an ability like that, looking forward to seeing more of him. He's a weapons expert as well, and that we do see. We see a lot of that. He has every gun. He owns every gun because he's been in every war, conflict. He is a mercenary for hire, and he uses a lot of black market weaponry and just high-tech weaponry. He is a moving arsenal, and we see that numerous occasions. Just the ammunition he was using to take out androids. Took out Mesa Mart's neighbor's fucking bedroom window. Jacob Bastion and Jeremiah meet, and we see a scene where they're running toward each other while protecting the civilians, and they're taking out people, and they meet back to back and they defend the area for a bit. And, and Jeremiah takes them to the outpost, and then they drop off the civilians and they head back out. They head back out, and Jeremiah's like, well, why aren't you staying here? Why aren't you staying here? You know, because he just looked like a normal dude with guns. And Jeremiah was like, Jacob was like, I'm not staying here. I'm going back out there because, and actually, in his submission, he said, he took the life-changing event. You know, the event where you are told that people are mutating all around you. It's chaos. How do you survive this? And it was for people to give them the opportunity to introduce their character to us. I knew everybody was going to be mutating, so I wanted to show everybody getting their mutant powers. But he chose life-changing as well. My character, this is what he said, my character's goal is to protect his home by protecting the little guys from things like gangs, rogue mutants that are going on a rampage. So he was out there to just protect people, his home, wherever that may be, a district or just Haven City in general, just to protect people. And that's what he did. He protected civilians from Anarchy's androids, from rogue mutants and gang members. He says he would protect them and shoot anything that tried to kill or take advantage of them. He would then escort them to Gate, and once that's done, go back to defending the neighborhood from gangs and rogue mutants. So he specified in his submission that once he saved some people, he's going back out there. So that was really why that scene was in there, to show like Jacob is courageous and he's not the type to just be hiding around. He's a mercenary. He's been in worse shit. Maybe not worse shit. Maybe worse shit. I don't know. It's a giant meteor. Everybody's mutating. Kind of unprecedented. But he's been in some crazy scenarios, so that's nothing to him. He went right back out, and Jeremiah's like, "Where are you going?" He can hold his own. Meanwhile, Jeremiah is then called to another location where he goes into, I believe it was the Divergent district. No, the Golgan district. Either Golgan or Divergent, I can't remember, but it was a neighboring district, and I loved writing this. And I just wish I wish people could have saw it from my perspective. That's what's cool about this, because I know everybody has their own perspective and how they're imagining scenes. In the comment section, if you don't mind sharing how you imagined just little details like that you imagined during the scene where Jeremiah was going down the street, walking down the street, and we were like kind of behind him, and he was protecting people, and then Shiro and Looper and Void Makai came and stuff like that. I'm curious as to how, like, what angle were you envisioning it from, or were there any little nuances to the way you were imagining it, from how I was imagining it. But so we see a scene where Jeremiah is walking down the street, and he's got the Gate Center troops with him, and they're trying to survive, and they're being attacked. A guy, he's shooting people from afar. A dude gets attacked next to him, and he takes him out on some Iron Man shit. And and I pictured it all like one shot, like all one motion, no cuts or nothing. And a bullet comes his way, and fucking Looper comes. Looper Ken. By the way, he has left the Western War Constabulary, and I would like for his character to kind of, I don't know, that would be cool if he kind of investigated why the Western Ward was letting things happen. They were pretty much getting in Looper's way of taking out the Wang Gang. Were they scared of the Wang Gang? Were they in cahoots with the Wang Gang? You never know. But they got tired of him wanting to fight the Wang Gang so bad, and he was like, you know what, I'm out of here. Like, I'm gonna find another way to fight this evil. So he left the Western Ward. They're obviously corrupt, right? He finds someone who is also kind of in the same boat he is as far as like justice, and if you want it done right, you do it yourself. Shiro Aoi. And they kind of formed this. They're not like partners. Well, they work together to get things done. because they kind of want the same things done. And they form this kind of weird alliance. And they uncover Void Makai, who falls out of the abyss after the restart. And he gets hit by a vehicle, and they find his body. Shiro comes and takes him in. And Shiro knows Makai Funuishi. So when Void Makai wakes up, where Shiro found a picture of Makai's daughter on him. So he figured there was some connection, because reincarnation is a tradition in Nibu. So he had knowledge of Nibu traditions, which is why he was open to the idea that maybe this is Void Makai reincarnated. And sure enough, it was. Shiro's smart. He can deduce that. And Looper's like, oh, whatever. That's all that stuff is you. Cool. Is he a good guy? Cool. So they end up, they are notified of what's going on with the Grinfall appears, and they're like, okay, we got to go out there and help somebody, because we can't just rely on the gate center. They're weary of the gate center. The idea of people becoming mutants, you got to trust the person doing it, right? And Shiro is not obligated to trust Tempest no matter what he did. So it's always fine to have some to be a skeptic of someone who has so much power. He never met Tempest. So same with Looper. He's like, why should we trust these people? The city's ugly. So they go out there and they try to help. So anyway, Looper and Jerry meet. Looper pulls him down. He breaks this device off that was shot at Jerry that kind of disabled his weapons, and Jerry's back. Looper takes out the dude from like 30 yards because he's a marksman. Pow! Or gunfire. He's a beast with his firearms. He has really advanced firearm training. Bow! From 30 yards away, takes the dude out in the window. Jeremiah goes over and protects people. He takes out someone that's suppressing them with fire. Double tap, pat, pat, takes him out. He's attacked. He starts rumbling with another G-type. And Looper's kind-hearted. At the end of the day, he thinks about the civilians. So there was a moment where he needed cover. He sacrificed cover so that woman that was in the car could continue to hide. That's how selfless he is. So he's like, man, I needed cover. So he walks away from the car. He gets pummeled up a bit, starts rumbling. Meanwhile, Shiro is back there kicking ass because he's able to manipulate elements as well. He's kicking ass, turning into different elements, taking out his people, and then before you know it, the facilitator comes, being chased by the Wrath Chimera, and this is when we see the Nibu Bayless come, which is Void Makai, because Void Makai was with Shiro and Looper. He's taking care of business up in the sky. He takes out an Anarchy ship. He zigzags in and out of that thing. And when I imagine that, I picture when I was younger, I always had the Sonic comics. And whenever they would illustrate Sonic fucking some robots up, they would show him as a ball just going zipping in and out of the machine. That shit would look old. That shit would look mad cool. So that's what I pictured when Void Makai was zipping in and out of the ship, going in, fighting, coming out, going back in, fighting, coming out. And when he would go in, he's not just fighting any enemies, like he was fighting like some elite androids, like the B2 brawler. And then he ends up in the engine room and Ongbakni someone into the engine core. Shit blows up. He falls out. He's falling through the sky. He summons a Nibu Bayless, runs down the Nibu Bayless, leaps off the Nibu Bayless into a punch. Hits the Wrath Chimera. All his fucking metal falls off his body. Combos him up. Boom! And then it explodes, and that's when we meet Nivell Threndorn. Nivell Threndorn is a scientist that used to work for Anarchy. He turned over a new leaf, and he's helping now. He has the ability to create bubbles. It's called Bubble Up. Really like some powerful force fields right here we're talking. He was able to contain an explosion created by the Wrath Chimera. And then that's when we discover there is a reaction taking place under the city. which is not good. Grinfall was created by Gotham Pop, and it happened in the past, and it created Gamma Zombies. It turned the whole district into a very, very hellish district. We'll just say that, filled with Gamma Fiends, Gamma Zombies. I mean, so we see a variation of that take place under the city this time. The Callidians are a race created. They're like really thin creatures with thin see-through skin and sharp teeth. And apparently they've become radiated. So that's going to be an issue. Nibble Thrindorn is keeping them all in from running out because that napalm explosion created a hole in the ground, and they would have come out if it wasn't for Nibble keeping his bubble there. So there was another scene where where Jeremiah's 2 guards, their mutations awakened, and one of his guards has the ability to incinerate things. The other guard has the ability to touch things and they die. They were rolled, by the way, when we created his guards. We rolled those abilities. So at first they were just really buff guards that could whip your ass. They had some guns and they were protecting Jeremiah. They apparently didn't go through the transformation in the Gate Center, because you got to remember, the Gate Center, you have to be up to Tempest's standards before he lets you join the Gate Center, and definitely before he gives you some fucking mutations or awakens your mutations. So the reason they probably didn't go through that is probably because he didn't see them fit. Jeremiah is a totally different person for now. But the guards, these are people that, if you remember in past cycles, Jeremiah used. If you look at Jeremiah's character page, Jeremiah, he's a little shady. He's a little shady motherfucker. He kind of turned over a new leaf when he met Jeremiah, though. Tempest, though. And Tempest saw light in him. But he used his guards to force you to shake his hand. That's what his guards are there for, to force you to shake his hand. Because when you shake Jeremiah's hand, he can kill you. Once he shakes your hand, he can give you a command and you have to do it, or he can kill you. So that's an ability that's dangerous and kind of sinister. So these guards, if they do what they're told, and it's a dangerous person. Tempest might not want someone to have powers like that are like that to have powers. Anyway, they don't have mutations, but we see them get into a fight with a Beard Gundam. Now, Beard Gundam is something that from the last season, when all that G-types that were told by Anarchy, like, hey, if you believe you're at the top of the food chain. Well, actually, he just told them to come to Sector 12 if they are aligned with his philosophy of survival of the fittest. They got there and they ended up fighting each other. Obviously, they're all alpha G-types, so they started fighting each other. And Timbrus Gray and Virus Baseborn were in that fight. Later, they would be all locked up in Sector 12. We saw what happened to them later. But anyway, a Beard Gundam was one of the characters there. Now, a Beard Gundam is pretty much a person who mutates into a swarm of people. They become a swarm. Not of rats, not of insects, your traditional swarms. They become a swarm of people, of little people, a sentient swarm of little people, millions of people form a body. But they're really intelligent and they can build, robots. They can build Gundams. And they have a thing for beards, affinity for beards, in their design. Beard technology. So they create these beard mechs and they operate these beard mechs. So Jeremiah and his guards run into one of these beard mechs who start attacking them, shooting little people at them. They're fighting, they're stabbing. I wanted to make it look like they killed the guard, but remember, this is the guard that can touch people and they die. So they're stabbing them up. They're all in his face. That's the sound they make. Anyway, they're all in his face and they take him down, and his vital signs go flat. And obviously, I wanted it to make it look like he died, but this is the death guard. So he mutated, and it looked like he died when really he just awakened. I don't know why I keep. Anyway, he awakens and he starts just pulling them off. Like it's nothing. And they're dying to the touch. You know what I mean? So all that. Get off me. Get off me. Get off me. And they just fall off. I pictured that shit. That shit was smooth. I don't know how you pictured it. And then the other guard is being bear hugged by the mutant. And obviously he fucking roasts him. Fire goes through the beard, rip the beard off, clears out the Power Rangers. Does a nod to Power Rangers. You know what I mean? Green Ranger jumps out. He gets picked up. He's about to summon the Dragon Zord and shit. The guard was like, no! Yanks him up. Bow! He's dead. And Jeremiah's like, damn, like y'all just mutated. Like, that was kind of cool. That was cool. I wasn't expecting that. I actually witnessed that. So, Jeremiah, what's the word? What's the phrase? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's a very sinister power Jeremiah has. I wonder if Jeremiah would ever become too much for himself. I'm just gonna put that out there. Jeremiah in Atlas Corp is very powerful, and I'm looking forward to seeing what role he would play in the season. If he continues this alliance with Tempest and Gate City and Gate agents, Atlas Gate, that's like one of the most powerful alliances we've seen. They're standing for good right now, and between money, technology, and an alliance of G-types that follow you, and your actual good leaders, they are the ultimate protagonists in Gamma Haven right now. I love it. I thought Jeremiah, when he was first created, he was going to be a bad guy because of how he described him. But the player of Jeremiah, he role plays, and he makes decisions, and he plays out those decisions. So that's what he's doing makes sense. Like, there's really no reason to be a bad guy right now. If your character's about business and you're in a really good business relationship, and you're kind of a good person, it shows. And I feel like it's working for him right now in this. I feel like what he's doing right now and how he's role-playing Jeremiah is awesome. And right now, I just really can't see anybody fucking with Atlas Gate. I can't.
Thanks for watching Peoplz and Dragons, the interactive RPG game show. I encourage everyone to jump into our comment section to participate in the lore contests, as well as visit our Patreon page to learn what perks come with your support for our machine. Peace.